you just got permabanned. Is that correct? On your Love the Beavs account. This is a second account that is also called Love the Bees, but it's actually an alt account on which you have to repurchase the game completely because if you get banned, you get banned on all alt accounts on that account, right?
That's correct, yes.
Wow. So you have to actually rebuy the whole game and potentially all the expansions if you want all the expansions.
Yeah, I think I still have to. I don't have Armenians, Georgians, or Romans.
Yeah, so
So,
so I actually ran into a similar problem. I still have my alternative account, but I just don't play on it, and I have everything unlocked on that. The reason I don't play on that is because I get 2 weeks ban for doing Oasis. I'm sorry that you have to repeat this, but can you tell us what happened when you contacted the devs?
yeah, so, I mean, Oasis is in the map pool right now. The prior map pool that Oasis was in was like a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago. Um, and I received a 2 week ban at the end of that cycle. So a month ago, I had a 2 week ban. Um, and I disputed the ban because the rules specifically state that your opponent can play a strategy that you don't like that's not griefing. I think the rules specifically cite tower rushing as a
Yeah, I was
major
gonna say
boosting
it
strategy
says
that
tower
you don't
rushing. Yeah,
want.
I've read the policy as well because I'm also curious about that.
So, so I sent an email disputing that I was not griefing. That I have, I think, multiple win conditions now that the nom has evolved so much. I feel like I have multiple win conditions, and I'm playing for those win conditions. Um, and they asked me to explain the strategy because I said I have a unique strategy that is out of the box. I have a win condition. I'm playing for that win condition. It's just very unusual, and people think it's griefing. So I wrote like a 3-4 paragraph explanation of the nom and what its win conditions are, and they
Sorry to make you state everything for the people, but maybe some people don't know what a nom is, and maybe some people don't know what the win condition of the Cannon Galleon Rush on Oasis is.
sure. NOM is it's an abbreviation acronym for New Oasis Meta, which started as a joke because
All good
after
strategies start as a
one of
joke.
one of Poop Lord's most famous videos is the very first NOM, which was a 1v1 that I did with Vikings, and I think I joked around with them and I said I think that this has some merit, and I think it's going to be the new Oasis meta. And then it turned into a joke. We'd write it in like palisade walls when we would have victories with the strat. So it's kind of a joke, but it's an acronym that references the strategy where you put a navy in the worthless pond on Oasis in the center of the map.
Thank you for the
Um,
follow. Thank you for
so
all of my
yeah,
supporters and supporters of Bievs.
people are following because
They're
they want to free love to Biebs.
free to Bievs. Okay, so basically you were doing the Cannon Galleon Rush. Uh, some people would say you're just hogging the center. Why is it not considered griefing in your opinion?
So I think I think by the letter of the law, maybe 2 years ago when we were first running the strat, you could say it was griefing, or at least by some people's definition, it was griefing. But we've developed the theory so much that oftentimes we get spies. Oftentimes we'll have 100, 120 Mangudai in transport ships, ballista elephants in transport ships. We'll have incredibly difficult units to kill that are waiting for the right time to come out. We'll also have Portuguese in the squad. So the reason why we lie in wait is because the biggest part of the strategy is it's nearly impossible to kill Spanish cannon galleons with land units, and it's incredibly expensive. And we've also chopped all the wood on you, so there is no resources on the map for you to be able to efficiently kill our ships. So we're going to do this for 3-4 hours. We're going to burn all the res on the map, but we also have a massive army in our transport ships waiting for the right time to come out. and you can't replenish your army because it's too expensive to beat us. So we have multiple win conditions. One, we're going to have army that you can't kill. Two, in a situation where there's no resources on the map and we have Fatoria, we have a win condition just for more efficiently gaining
Also,
resources.
an important thing to consider that you did not mention yet, but I'm sure you'll get there, is monks and villagers in transport ships to get back onto land.
Yes, so it's not just army. We basically have a Swiss Army knife of everything you can imagine in the transport ships.
Bombard
So
cannons.
if our enemies go AFK and they're like, ha ha ha, we'll just leave the PC running, well then we'll come out with bombard cannons. It will take down their defensive structures and we'll easily come back and take land. So,
I think it
so really
started. I think it started as seeing time as a resource as well, and there have been several games in which time has become a resource on professional levels. For example, Hera had one game where he was up against a high-level opponent, and they were just spamming Skirm and Hussar, and he's like, "This guy's got to go to work in like an hour or two. I can just keep going." And he laughed about it, and of course the guy resigned. He's like, "I got to go to work," so he called it out exactly as such. There's also the famous Ruben Stock, and I think it was freaking
Andre?
Oh, sorry, yeah, it was Andre. And they had a 42-hour game, so time definitely becomes a resource. And they were waiting for each other to go to sleep so that then they could debate a castle fire and take it out, but it never really got to that. Eventually, Ruben Stock lost the game because he got disconnected. So I think initially when we started the NOM, it was seeing time as a resource, but as the strategy has developed and blossomed, there are now legitimate win conditions where you can actually outdo them by means of army, because you don't need every single player to go Spanish cannon galleons. You can have ballista elephants that can win really, really good engages that you can potentially heal up indefinitely with monks, or Mangudai to raid and kill their trade after there's no more wood on the map, and the wood is, 6,000, 7,000 of wood per unit, and people underestimate what you have in those transport ships.
Yeah, because our enemies could get spies, which is still going to be really expensive. They shouldn't, but if they do get spies, they don't know what's in the transport ships. They just know that there's transport ships. So
regardless, sorry, getting back on track, you got banned and you sent this email explaining all of this to them, 3-4 paragraphs long. What happened then?
He replied to that email with one word. It said "interesting," period, and then that was it. So my 2-week ban was I appealed it, but they held it and they said it will still continue. And then Oasis was in the current map pool, and I've only played a couple noms so far this cycle. For the most part, I've been relatively busy. Other people have been busy. So I think I was probably down to like my last straw. They were like, okay, if he gets reported for griefing one more time, he's perma banned. So somebody must have reported me for griefing this cycle. And then yesterday I was gonna play a 1v1 and try to do the Cuban villager rush, and then I got an error code that says this count has been suspended. I went to like the main screen where the multiplayer suspension time usually shows. There wasn't a time, and then I googled the error code, and the error code said that
you've been banned for life.
Yeah, the error code, like on Reddit, people are like, oh, it's either you have your computer files aren't working, or you've been permabanned. And then when I loaded up the alt account worked. So obviously my computer files are working just fine. So
by means of process of deduction. That's a sad thing. I've also experienced multiple bans for Oasis, and I've actually also sent emails to them, and I said, look, I don't understand why I'm getting these suspensions. I took a little bit of a different approach. I said, I'm doing this strategy. In your terms and services, it says that tower rushing is allowed and annoying strategies are allowed. What is it that I'm doing that I should change my behavior so that I don't get banned in the future? What is your impression on the banning system? Do you think it's actually sorry, this is like a totally loaded question and not biased because I know what I would say to this. But do you believe, let me just come right out of here and say it. Do you believe the reporting system works as followed? If you get a certain number of reports, you get banned.
Yeah, I believe the banning system is automated. I would assume the support staff and the dev staff are incredibly limited because it's Microsoft and they're of course going to go bare bones staff. So I don't think people are reviewing the games to verify if somebody's accusation of griefing is actually griefing. And I think it probably works well enough. And I think we're clearly a outlier in the situation.
Yeah, I think
I don't think there's many people in the player base who are running a strat that looks like griefing but isn't actually griefing. So I think the way that they do it probably works given their constraints, but
yeah, I think if you don't want people to play the strategy, it's very simple to say, hey, if all your buildings are destroyed, you also lose.
Exactly.
Although, I mean, or if you only have navy, then you lose, or whatever it is that you want to make the win condition. There's definitely ways to work with this, or you put like a day timer or a 7-hour timer or whatever it is. There's multiple solutions, varying in successfulness, or you could just ask people, hey, this strategy actually is not acceptable by means of our terms and services. And then I think for myself, I would respect that. You're the developers of the game. You don't want me to play the game this way, then I won't.
It reminds me. It reminds me of the I don't know, months ago there was a Town Center podcast where they had Viper, Hera. I think somebody else was on the call, but they were talking about if you could get what they call a draw,
a stalemate. Yeah. I saw that GL podcast.
Viper and Hera were really excited, trying to think of what a draw would actually be, and the host was like, just immediately got disgusted because the host knew about Poop Lord's Oasis strat.
Yeah, he mentioned me, didn't he?
He's like, this is sounding eerily close to Poop Lord's Oasis strat, and like tried to like steer the conversation away from, that being an interesting way to play the game because, the loud, sweaty Reddit meta boys have clearly unanimously decided that the way we play the game is wrong.
I think legitimately, and well, I think people who are higher up, not naming any pro players by names, but I have been black booked or black stamped by some of them as just a degenerate who runs too radical of strategies even for them. So I find that very interesting. But this video is going to be too long otherwise to get into all of the nitty gritty. Is there any closing statements you would like to make on this? It's very sad that your account has been banned and that now you have to repurchase not only the game on a second account but also all of the unlockables.
They'll never stop me. I got deep pockets.
They'll never stop you from numbing.
They'll never stop me.
Yeah.
If they ban me on this IP address, guess what? I'm getting a new house, everybody. Ban that IP address too. I'll change my name. I'll go into hiding.
He's getting new laptops every day just to buy Age of Empires on a new IP address.
We will persist.
Just like the NOM strategy itself, we're all about perseverance. There you go. Don't let your memes just be dreams. Keep walking, play the game how you want to play the game, and it's all good. It's all good. Poop Lord, out.